Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Serially Cinema Episode 2. This week we'll be talking about some of our least favorite movie tropes and the 1993 Steven Spielberg classic Jurassic Park. This week I'll be joined by Neill, Gideon, Paul, all from first week's episode, as well as Paul's older brother Jacob, who is a paleontologist who will provide specific insight into some of the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. Okay, welcome to the show today. First off, we're going to start with Gideon. How's it going today?
It's going great, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. Had my only day in the office this week, so went in, had my chicken Caesar salad that they cater that I was really looking forward to. That was good.
Nice.
Spent a nickel, got a Coke out of the machine.
Very nice.
How about you? Anything fun happen?
Yeah, my boss called me. That's always like a panic attack moment. And she was just calling me because she was like on her lunch, and I guess her daughter like broke her foot or something a couple days ago. So she was telling me she was gonna be out of the office, and she was just like giving me an update and just kind of like touching base. It was like nothing big deal at all. But I feel for her daughter. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, yeah, that's rough stuff. And then of course we have the God Emperor himself, Neil. How's it going today?
I'm glad I've been promoted to God Emperor.
Nice.
Yeah, for kind of the opposite of Sam, this is the first time I've gotten to work from home in the past like 3 weeks, so I enjoyed
Hell
that.
yeah. That is a celebration.
hmm Yeah. So how's not wearing pants today going?
Uh, you know, um, what's it called? Black boxer shorts. That's the style around my apartment today.
Nice,
Nice.
nice, good as always. And
Timeless.
Paul, what's going on, man?
It's going well. I worked from home today. I worked from home yesterday, and I will work from home tomorrow. I have not worn pants since 2019. Um,
Preach, brother. Same.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is for me too. It's like I kind of feel like I feel like when you work from home, your standards for what is a good day or what's a busy day totally change. Like
Yeah.
it used to be like, oh, a busy day was an actual busy day when I was working at the office, and now it's like a busy day if I don't get to play like 3 games of Turbo Dota in the afternoon.
Oh my
You
God.
know, so it's maybe we'll all look back at this time and regret how far the old work ethic slipped. But who knows? Maybe not. So this week on the show, we are going to talk about the 1993 classic movie Jurassic Park, and we're also going to delve into what our least favorite movie tropes are. Um, I couldn't really find a good definition of what a movie trope is, but I think we all
Yeah.
kind of know them when we see them or we know them when we hear about them or whatever. So
I
I'll
think
be
it needs no definition.
so
Mm.
let's
You
so let's
you
start
know
with
it when you
that.
see it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go ahead and start with mine. I was going to say my least favorite movie trope or plot device um, that really bugs me, and this is really common in mediocre movies. I find like not twos. It doesn't happen in tens. Just it happens a lot in like six, sevens, and eights. It's like um, a situation like the drama of the situation could be easily resolved by two people talking to each other, but one person comes to the other person to like tell them about the thing, and they're like, no, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to listen to you, and then they just like run away.
Yeah.
That drives me up the
Yeah,
wall. That's like the
Mm.
weakest reason for there to be drama ever, is like one person won't listen to somebody talk just for like
Yeah.
two.
huge
It would
rom
take
com.
literally 30 seconds to explain what's going
Yeah.
on, and you can't take 30 seconds to listen to this person. It's just like it's such a weak setup for drama, and it always like whenever that happens, you're like, okay, I've got 30 minutes left of this shitty movie. And it's gonna be that person runs away, and then that person stands there all upset, and then they're gonna play some shitty Journey song that's all like sad in the background, and it's like raining and shit, and we got 30 minutes left on this, and I'm just gonna have to sit here. And so yeah, that's kind of my most hated movie trope. Gideon, what do you got for me, man?
And so the first thing that jumps out at me, I recently in the theater I watched the new Ant-Man movie, like Quantumania, I think it's called or whatever. And the trope is like the super annoying like it can just be like a family relationship, and in this case, it was like the daughter was just like so obnoxious the whole time, and like the dad's like, I gotta be a good dad, like I gotta make sure, but like this is really hard, but I gotta be a good dad. I'm like, oh my god. And it's like I don't give a shit even more about the daughter, because I think this is like the third like different actor to play his daughter. So I'm like, you really lost me. So I'm just, anytime she's on screen, I'm just like, oh my god, can we fast forward?
In Quantumania, is this the one where everybody's complaining about like the bad special effects?
Yeah, it was rough. It was
Okay.
there was some parts that was pretty rough. And then the main villain, I think he just came under some like assault allegations, like he
Yeah.
hit somebody.
Uh-oh.
Jonathan
So
got
double whammy.
domestic assault, I think.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Hmm.
but Paul Rudd, he did have some nice moments in there, I will say.
Paul Rudd, such a likable guy.
He's just so nice, man.
Indeed.
I
Also,
love
very
go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
consistently good movies in his career. Like ever since
Yeah.
he was like 20.
And I feel like he almost has like that face that'll just like draw a certain crowd, you know, not in a
What's
bad way.
Paul Rudd movie?
Yeah, or he's just enjoyable whenever he's on, even in when he's like the mayor or whatever in Parks and Rec. He's awesome.
Yeah, and he's in "I Love You, Man," which
Oh
I've
my
got a
God.
soft spot for
That
as
is a
like a
good one.
massive Rush fan. Like I love that movie.
Yes.
And you know what's funny is that movie I think falls into the trope that I was just talking about. Like I don't remember the plot of that movie a lot, but I remember it being pretty funny. But I do think there was a part where like they had like a little fight between him and Jason Segel, and like one of them wouldn't talk to the other one, and they were like trying to clear something up. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, to sum mine up, basically just annoying family members I don't give a shit about. Hate that.
I think if I can ride Paul Rudd's dick just like one more time, I
Sure.
also gotta say it's pretty rare to see an actor who can successfully play both like kind of the loser like he did in I Love You Man, and then also play like the stud or like the Chad like he did in some of his earlier movies as a kid.
Even Ant-Man too, he's kind of like that loser persona, but obviously he's a superhero too, you know. So that's a good thing to point out.
He's like the cool in like Clueless. He's like the cool guy. He's the cool stepbrother. I don't know.
And
you know who's great at playing the loser? I mean, some people will say he's kind of the same in every movie, but I love Vince Vaughn for that reason. He's just real great at being just like a scummy,
it's like an oaf.
Yeah, just kind of an oaf.
Yeah. He feels like a real person.
I mean, that's part of why I liked him so much. He's got two roles that like are way outside of his usual like Vince Vaughn genre. One of them is True Detective Season 2, which Sam and I have talked at length about this. I think it's not as good as the first season, but it's still like A tier television. But then he was also in what was it called? It's a World War II movie.
World War II, Vince Vaughn. I'm on it. Jamie, pull that up. Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge, and like
so
good. And he plays the hard-nosed drill sergeant. He pulls it off somehow. Like
okay, damn.
That's good to know. I have not seen Hacksaw Ridge. Is that? I think that's Mel Gibson, though, right?
Yeah, it's Mel Gibson directing. Whoever the second Spider-Man was, not Tobey.
Oh, Andrew Garfield. I heard. Yeah, he's incredible in that.
Andrew Garfield does a really good job. And it's the
Sam Worthington.
Yeah, I was gonna say the guy from Avatar.
Yeah, the Avatar man and Black Ops 1.
Oh yeah, this guy. Okay.
And he's in Black Ops.
Sam Worthington has had like this really strange career where he was in Avatar, the biggest movie ever made, and I can't remember his name. I know him like he's the Avatar.
Oh, absolutely. And he was in Call of Duty. He was the main dude in Call of Duty. You know, Black Ops 1. And I don't remember much. I think
who is he? Is he the main character in Black Ops 1?
He's the dude in the main menu, strapped in. Yeah, he's the guy
being interrogated. He's you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say I don't remember his face from that, but I remember that it's Mason, but obviously it's first person, so you don't see his face. But
that's fair.
That is interesting. I did not know that, and I knew the name Sam Worthington, but And of course, I've seen Avatar, but if you would have said, "Is Sam Worthington in Avatar?" I would have been like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I don't know the name of anybody in Avatar
It
except for
sounds like
James
a
Cameron.
politician or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like
He was-
he's been in stuff,
Mhm.
but like, yeah, he went from being in the biggest movie of all time to like,
Yeah. What was he doing in between? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. You gun to my head. I have no idea. I'm
Mhm.
done, dude.
Can I go on a small related rant about? Well, I
Yeah.
guess I can. It's my podcast. I don't have to
Yeah.
ask you guys, but
Yeah.
okay. So small related rant to the biggest. Now, I would not. This is not me coming at you, Neill, for saying Avatar is the biggest movie of all time. However, it annoys me when marketing campaigns for and I understand why they do it, but marketing campaigns for movies are always like the highest grossing movie of all time. It's like, yeah, dude, because tickets are 10 times more expensive than they were in 1935. Like, what did you have to pay to go see The Wizard of Oz in the theater? You know, you gave them a nickel and you could watch it 6 times if you wanted to, right? Like, you go to the movie theater now and a ticket's what, like $10-12 probably.
Yeah, depending.
and then the
So-
upcharge for 3D.
Yeah, and that's
if
the
you get
other
a
thing about
premium
Avatar
seating
is
thing,
that Avatar 90. Well, I would say probably like 80% of the tickets sold for Avatar were 3D tickets, which they were upcharging for. So of course it was the biggest movie of all time. Like, and again, I know why they say it. That's whatever your marketing department. That's fine. You don't want to have a big asterisk on your commercial that says, we're not accounting for inflation. But it's very hard to find the numbers on like highest grossing movies of all time when you adjust for inflation and kind of like I would love to see like a better breakdown of how all that stuff works, or I would like to see when popular movies out, like maybe advertise it by like number of tickets sold, because sometimes the highest grossing thing can be a little misleading.
Number
That's
of
fair.
tickets.
So that's my whole rant.
Okay.
There's probably a number for it. There's probably a metric for that number
Mhm.
of tickets sold.
And there, I mean, Box Office Mojo, I think, will spit out tickets, but it'll do it by tickets sold, and it'll also, you can look at like top 10 compared to inflation. But I would love to see like top 10 of the year on an inflationary scale, or just more things like that where you compare it historically, because I get the feeling that actually less people than ever are going to see movies, especially in the theater, and you wouldn't know that by the way some of these headlines come off, where it seems like like the one that's breaking records right now is the Mario movie, but of course the Mario movie is the biggest animated movie that's come out in the last 3 or 4 years since inflation's been out of control. So of course it's the highest grossing movie. It's of course it's higher grossing than Frozen or Frozen 2, right?
Mhm.
So sorry, there's a small side rant, but
All good.
Neill, what was your I'm
Movie trope.
curious to know what your movie trope was.
So this is like, it's not exclusive to movies. Like, you can see this in Sam. You've played the Yakuza series alongside me, so you'll see it
Yes.
there. But it's like the big fat guy is tough. So like now obviously you don't need to be 2% body fat and like 6'6" with like bodybuilder aesthetic to be strong.
Right.
I'm not saying that you can't have a little extra weight on you, but so like the two things that come to mind are in Yakuza, like it's just a fat guy, but somehow he's like got 3 times as much health and he's gonna throw a chair at you.
You mean like Shimano?
No, like he actually radiates the idea that he has strength underneath his extra bulk. But there's like unnamed Yakuza thug who blocks a doorway.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Those guys are assholes.
Yeah, just like okay, and so this transfer's over. I've been watching Better Call Saul for the first time.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
Breaking Bad prequel. And he's in Breaking Bad too, but he's one of Saul's Huel. He's one of the fixers along with Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, he's tall, and yeah, he's like 400 pounds. Like even if he swung at me, I'm pretty sure I could just run away from him.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated by Huel.
And he's also like chill. His demeanor, right? He's not like necessarily intimidating, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, like but that's like his character, but like he still used like Bill Burr's character is like the smart
But
one who's doing the
mhm.
talking. He's like, we're gonna try and keep Huel here happy. I'm like, I don't care about
Right.
Huel.
Like a George and Lenny situation.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, except again, Lenny is strong enough that when he pets a puppy, he
True.
murders
Yeah, maybe that's not a good
it.
analogy.
So
But
I
like
don't think of Lenny as a
Huel,
big fat guy.
if you could get Huel on the ground, you could probably murder him. Like he's not
Yeah.
scary.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of instances where you're just gonna run through, and you'll find like some guy who's got like saggy man tits and a big belly, and he's gonna like cross his arms or what you looking at, little guy? Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You don't scare me.
I feel that. Okay. Like a bouncer type almost.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, this is kind of like the opposite of the trope, because this is a character who is actually muscular and tough in some way, but it reminds me of the Marvel villain Kingpin, who I've like always thought was like a really cool idea for a villain, because he doesn't like technically have powers or anything.
Yeah. And he's so cool in Into the Spider-Verse, man. How they draw him and everything is so imposing. Oh man. I love that.
I have not seen Into the Spider-Verse, but everybody says it's like
Oh.
the shit. So
Dude, your eyes are gonna bleed from your OLED watching that thing. Be careful. That's what I'm gonna say.
Hey man, that's why you buy the OLED, right? Is you
Yeah.
want your eyes to bleed. You're like, okay, what's the sickest thing I can watch on this
Yeah.
thing?
No, I've heard the 4K disc is like phenomenal. We just watched it on the Blu-ray, but yeah, it's awesome.
Shit, I'm gonna have to check that out. And Paul, did you already say yours, or did you have a trope lined up?
No, so I actually made a short list.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome.
So I think the one that I mentioned in the last episodes that really bothers me is the faceless pack of goons who exist purely just to get their asses kicked.
Yeah, like foot soldiers.
Yeah, red
Okay,
shirt,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Okay, yeah.
I just think it's a really lazy way usually to demonstrate the main characters, the protagonists' power or whatever they have going for them. Second, dumb dads. I just think that's really worn out. It's really old.
Can you give some examples?
Dumb, doofy dads. I guess just any teen movie from the 90s, take your pick.
That's fair.
The Homer Simpsons.
Yeah, the Homer Simpsons, the Peter Griffins,
Yeah.
Or like commercials where it's like, my husband has a mind of his own, and then he's in the background, he's like fucking caught in the curtains or something like that, and he can't get out.
Yeah, he's usually like totally aloof to everything around him. I actually think this one kind of contrasts with yours, Gideon, where you talked about how an Ant-Man or it's just like, I need my daughter. She's the and like
I have to be the best dad. I'm also Ant-Man. Yeah.
This is kind of the opposite of that. It's like the opposite extreme. It's just like the doofy, dumb dad who's like just comic relief. He's just Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my god.
Human.
I will say real quick for the record, I adore Jar Jar for different reasons than other people. So it'll be great to get into it.
Jar Jar is the key to all of this, Gideon.
He really is. That's why COVID happened, man. I'm sure of it.
He was the real Sith Lord. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I've heard a little bit of that theory, and I want more. Like I want a whole dedicated thing about it.
So a few more.
Paul, before you go on, I just wanted to ask about your first one. Are you familiar with John Rhys Davis on the set of The Lord of the Rings, where he was facing off against the Faceless Goons?
No.
So can you remind us who that guy is? The name you said.
John Rhys Davis.
Yeah.
He's Gimli.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So he was he was so fed up with like learning fight choreography that he would just like go up to the stuntmen who were playing various orcs and he says, "Okay, so which one of you guys is coming at me first?" And the guy says, "Okay, I'm gonna hit you in the chest, and then I'm gonna hit you in the neck, and I'm gonna sweep your feet." Because he's like of the three main characters, As an actor, he's actually taller than Viggo Mortensen and Orlando Bloom.
Oh wow.
What?
Yeah, like they're both like 5'10", 5'11", and he's like 6'3".
That's
I did not know
crazy.
that.
Holy shit.
If you watch the Indiana Jones movies, he's Sulla in the first and third one.
Ooh, okay.
But
It probably wasn't hard for him to blend in public as an actor during the peak of Lord of the Rings.
no. But so like the stuntman was like, but the fight choreographer told us, he's like, no, I'm going to hit you. I'm like, okay, well, just make sure to pull your blows, and he never pulled his blow.
Oh my god, bro. He takes it on the stunt guys, man.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Hope they got paid.
Yeah, right.
Those poor New Zealanders.
You get paid in the honor of being taken down by
Yeah.
Gimli on
That's
film.
true.
Like that's
On film.
Well,
that's the way to go.
I would do it for free.
I've heard stories about like 80s kung fu movies where, you know, like they're shot for like no money, and the like lead actor who's like supposed to be like the best kung fu artist on set will just tell the stunt guy, hey, I'm gonna knock you out, pick up another $100 on the way out today. Like, just insane. Like, stuntmen go through so much shit.
That's pretty awesome. What are some of the other ones you got on your list, man?
All right, so
Yeah.
just a few more.
No worries.
This is very common in mediocre art films. Not to sound like Ron Reiner, but cigarettes as a visual cue. Hate that. Really like lazy, in my opinion. I also think it's just like corny at this point. Really cheesy. Lot of like, I don't know. I think whenever I see it now, I just think you are a film student making a short film in college with your buddies, and you think that like cigarettes are cool still. And I can't not see it that way.
That's fair.
Paul, what if I told you that cigarettes are cool?
I feel like yes, but I think that as a visual cue, like it, and this is also a huge, like, it's actually wildly popular in music videos, probably more so than in film these days. But it's just, if you're trying to paint somebody as like a tortured artist or a writer or somebody who's in distress, smoking is just like the laziest.
Yeah, like smoking a cigarette, holding their head in like frustration. Like, I can see it now.
You know they're pretentious when they take like a 5-second drag. Like nobody takes a 5-second drag.
That's rough, man. No way.
When I worked at the hospital on the second floor, that was the like respiratory division, and every time I would walk from the north end of the hospital to the south end, there was a poster, and it had a bunch of like barnyard animals on it smoking cigarettes, and it was like, it doesn't look cool when they do it, right? And I remember
wild.
I remember seeing a parody of that particular anti-smoking message, and it was the same poster, but in the frames of all the photos, instead of farm animals, it was like every cool person in American pop culture ever smoking. It was like Jim Morrison, James Dean, Bob Dylan, Debbie Harry, and they were all smoking. And it was like the point of the message was like, of course it looks cool when they do it. I don't know. That whole thing just kind of made me laugh.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it worked for James Dean.
Yeah, because James Dean's hot. You know, it's like if you see some random guy at 7-Eleven smoking, right? You know, it doesn't look nearly as cool.
Well, also, like, that was like the 50s. It worked for Humphrey Bogart, but that's over. It's, I don't know.
It's done.
Right. It's like fedoras. Like, it works
or
for
like
Bogart.
Find something new, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got two more.
Go for it.
The next one is I don't know how else to describe this one other than just like, don't tell me he's right behind me, isn't he?
Oh my god, yeah. That is some good shit, man.
Needs no explanation, but that drives me fucking crazy.
Paul, I'm just getting the impression that you hate movies from this list.
Maybe I think that's why I agree.
You probably watch too much, right?
Just so I can talk about how much I hate movies.
Dude, but what about like teleports behind you? Nice try. Nothing personal, kid.
Yeah. And last one, and this is my very, very least favorite one that I still noticed today. It's kind of an addendum to the cigarette one, but anytime they want to make a guy look cool and contemplative and intelligent and a little like special, drinks bourbon and listens to jazz.
Oh hell yeah!
That's
That's awesome.
Like Dean
Drinks bourbon
McCuppin in the Iron Giant. Well, he doesn't drink bourbon, I guess, but he's like down in really hardcore espresso and like listening to Miles Davis out in the junkyard.
I don't know. It's just like, look, I'm a person. I like drinking bourbon. I like jazz music, but it's been done so many times. It's so played out, and it's just, I think if you want to make a character look cool, drinks bourbon and listens to jazz is just the most played out, laziest way to reflect that, because it's just so overdone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like there's so many scenes where, again, kind of like the cigarette one, like the contemplative, maybe not the doofy dad, but like the kind of dad that Gideon was talking about. He comes home from his job exasperated, and he pours himself like an 18-year-old bottle of scotch, and he puts jazz on his record player while he's in his study room, and he just like stares down into his drink. Like, how many times have you seen? There's like 10 different movies or TV shows I could be talking about right now.
Just drinking Lagavulin and blaring Joy Division at max volume and staring into the void.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when they also throw the glass at the wall and fit of rage. Yeah. I've always wanted to do that, man. One of these days, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think by the time we get old, it's gonna be like, I don't know, drinks Zima and listens to Vaporwave or something like that.
Dude, if only.
What is Zima, bro? Is that like from Xenon the sequel? What the hell is that?
It's like the vodka equivalent of a wine cooler.
What the fuck?
I don't know how else to describe it.
How do you spell it? I'm gonna look it up.
Zima. It's like alcoholic Sprite.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like that's like something you would drink while you're watching the VHS director's cut of Blade Runner.
Yeah,
like on a CRT.
Oh my god,
it's gonna be.
It looks futuristic. I'll give it that.
Yeah, drinks Zima and watches Blade Runner is gonna be the new drinks bourbon and listens to.
Dude, me at 85 years old. That's gonna be a vibe.
Yeah, Sam, that's gonna be you in like 3 weeks when you want to Blade.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy
man.
shit. Sorry, real quick. I got to interject. Dictionary.com says, what does Zima mean? And there's a quote. I think it's about like an ad or something. It says, looking for something different with a Z. Or sorry, something different. Oh my god. Zima. So yeah. Jesus
That's pretty funny.
Christ.
I tried to get my brother with one of those. I don't know what you would call them, but like a... one of those jokes where you try to get them to like an updog joke.
Oh, yeah. I love those.
I tried to get him earlier. Let's see, what did I say to him?
Updog is so good when he gets somebody.
Yeah, like I really tried. I think there is a new Saw movie coming out. But I pretended like there was a convention where they were like they showed the new trailer and it was called SawCon. And my brother did not fall for it, unfortunately. I was like, did you see the new Jigsaw movie trailer from SawCon? And he was like, nice try.
I mean, I was just gonna say that like there's always a new Saw movie coming out. Like
yeah, exactly.
Like I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who plays Jigsaw, like him and Bruce Willis are gonna be the first two guys to be like totally digitized.
What's wrong with the guy that has what's wrong with does the Jigsaw guy also have like dementia or something?
No, but just like I feel like he's already old and is gonna die relatively soon.
This is kind of an exploitative idea, but they should find another actor who is falling into dementia and then put them together in a movie with Bruce Willis. And just have some totally fucked up like buddy cop comedy. I love that idea. Like nothing makes sense.
Oh my god!
They have to solve
each other.
They have to solve the case before they forget what the case is about.
Oh my god. I want that, and then right after like a documentary like of the board that approved that shit. That's what I want. Like that would be an amazing double feature.
Yeah, dude, I would watch the shit out of that movie. I have a positive movie trope I was just thinking about. This is kind of like Neill knows the thing where like I'll play any game that has a grappling hook or a train level in it. It's like any movie that has one of those sweet diagonal freight elevators. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Like one of those industrial elevators. Like in Akira,
like a
they
big
write
hallway.
Yeah, no, they like in Akira, they like go underground on one of them, and they ride it all the way down to go see like the remains of Akira that are held in that like super frozen
Hell yeah.
psycho complex. But yeah, like they have one in the original Metal Gear Solid. You ride one down to like go see Vulcan Raven and shit. But any movie with one of those sweet diagonal freight elevators,
Can you think of any movies off the top of your head that feature that?
Just Akira is the one that comes to mind.
Akira? Okay. All right.
I think there was also one in was there one in Everything Everywhere?
There might be
All
one
at
in Avatar, dude. That sounds like something to be in Avatar.
Yeah. But I remember it from those kind of movies like I think there might be one in Blade Runner 2049. I'm not sure, but like or Ghost in the Shell or something like that.
Yeah. Sounds right.
They're always in like those kinds of like cyberpunky movies. I don't know, maybe there's probably a more technical term for the kind of elevator that I'm referring to, but anyway, what do you guys say we move on? We talk about the classic Jurassic Park.
Hell yeah.
Jurassic Park 1.
I realized while watching it that movie's 30 years old this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1993.
I'll be 30 this year.
Crazy.
Yeah. So what are you guys' histories with this movie? When's the first time you saw it? Okay, we'll kind of start with that kind of stuff. For me, obviously I didn't see it in theaters, but we had a VHS copy of it because a neighbor gave us the VHS copy because their kids were too scared of it. So like we watched it and stuff repeatedly on, how like when you're a kid you just watch things on VHS over and over and over again. And my brother like wore out the tape on Jurassic Park, just loved it, like couldn't get enough. Thought the funniest thing in the world was the T-Rex eating the lawyer right off the toilet, which is still great. Like that's still super
funny. Yes,
yeah, super funny. But he loved that bit. And then we had a VHS of Jurassic Park 3 that we took everywhere. And I've seen Jurassic Park 3 just as many times as I've seen the first one. I've never seen Jurassic Park 2. But this is overall just a classic movie, and I would say that the thing that really stands out to me about it is this was the end of the era of practical effects. I mean, we still get a practical effects movie every once in a while, but this was really the start of CG being the way of the future. And I would kind of organize special effects in my mind into kind of like the pre-Jurassic Park world and the post-Jurassic Park world.
Wow.
So
hold on. I don't want to gloss over. You have not seen Jurassic Park 2 at this point. That's got to be an intentional thing.
It is not intentional. It just is never really. I just assume that they're
all.
Look, it's like
it's not good.
I've heard about it. Like everybody just says it's not as good as the first one, right?
I mean, yeah, of course not. It's not a good movie. But it's got Vince Vaughn in it.
And Julianne Moore.
And it's I don't want to spoil any of it, but like
I know that Jeff Goldblum is in it a lot more.
Yes.
He is the main character.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. I do love him.
I will say that there's one scene in that movie that I would continually try to recreate while playing Zoo Tycoon with the dinosaur expansion.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes.
Nice.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't go into the tall grass.
My brother and I used to do that all the time. We had Zoo Tycoon, the dinosaur edition. And what we used to do is we would get like 5 park guests that were children, and we would name them after me and my friends. And we would place them all in the T-Rex. exhibit and try to see which one survives to the exit.
Hey everybody, Sam here. Just a small editor's note. At this point in the podcast, Jake, who is Paul's older brother, joined the podcast, so I just put this editor's note in here to kind of let him in and do the transition. Jake is a paleontologist and a massive fan of Jurassic Park, so we thought it'd be awesome to have him on the show. Thanks. Okay, and now we are going to go ahead and welcome Jake to the podcast. Jake is a amateur paleontologist, works with fossils, works with other paleontologists, and we wanted to have him on this special episode dedicated to Jurassic Park. So, Jake, how's it going today, man?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, I'm glad you guys.
Did you were you working today? What'd you do in your What'd you do at your job today?
Oh, I actually wasn't working today. I was off. I actually was busy at a dancing lesson, so that's a whole nother aspect of my daily life. But generally, yeah, it's been a while, but most of the time I'll do a lot of work with digs with my local museum. I do volunteer work for the Arizona Museum of Natural History, and we work in a whole bunch of different environments, not just necessarily like dinosaurs, but we do with stuff with like Ice Age megafauna. There's giant marine reptiles, and even like pre-dinosaur invertebrates and things like that as well.
Okay, so what's your favorite dinosaur, dude? We're going to go around. We're going to get everybody's favorite dinosaur.
Okay, so I know this is like super, like, like boring kind of, but like I really do like T-Rex. Like I don't, you really can't go wrong with him.
Badass.
He's the king.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we know a lot, actually, a lot more about T-Rex than a lot of other dinosaurs. I think there's been a good. There's like 20-something like relatively complete, skeletons that have been found over the years. We've known about it since like I think it was named in like 1908 or something. So we know a lot about it. It's a really powerful animal, strongest bite force of any land animal known, basically. It's just really cool, and you can't really go wrong with it.
Yeah, dude, it's the gold medal dino. What else is there to say about it?
Yeah, even people who don't know anything about dinosaurs, they know about T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, it just has such a great name. It's something about like Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
It's just like such a Chad dinosaur.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's funny because it did almost come out with like they almost gave it a couple different names that weren't nearly as good, and eventually I think technically, according to how animals are named, one of those was really supposed to go to it, but everybody just kind of like looked the other way and was like, we're gonna like keep calling it T-Rex because it's just too good. Like
Nice.
No other name does it justice.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Paul, what about you, man?
Okay, so growing up, Jacob, he had a book, and it was called like How to Train Your Dinosaur or something.
Oh, How to Keep Dinosaurs.
How to Keep Dinosaurs.
Book.
Yeah, I think he got it at a museum or something at first, but what Jacob and I did was we went through the book to see which dinosaur we would like both realistically keep as a pet, and the one that I picked was called Hypsilophodon. And I never forgot the name, but basically, I mean, from what I remember, I guess as an adult looking back, it's probably like an extremely like inoffensive, kind of like boring dinosaur, but just because it was, from what we knew back then, maybe the most like realistically compatible with humans, in my opinion, as like a 9-year-old, that made it seem really cool to me. So I would have to say that, just because that's kind of like stuck with me.
I never knew that. I totally forgot about that.
What the fuck? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Neill, I'm loath to let you go next because I have a feeling we're gonna have the same favorite dinosaur, but I guess we're gonna find out. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so we'll see here, Sam. So for the longest time, based on these movies, it was the Velociraptor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
However, I learned later that the Velociraptors as portrayed in this movie are not accurate to what Velociraptors actually were. And after that, I kind of changed my tune a little bit. So I actually go for the Ankylosaurus, the clubtail.
Oh, hell yeah.
Good choice.
Dinosaur. I don't know.
Dude.
I just like that he's a literal tank.
I like the Ankylosaurus. I didn't know it was called that, but that thing is badass.
I've got a hat with one on it from Moab.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
Dude, that is so you would say Velociraptor with the honorable mention being the Ankylosaurus.
No. I guess
no.
other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, son of a bitch, we do have the same favorite dinosaur. Dude, I knew it. There was something about the whole well, Neill really likes Warhammer 40K, so I know he's going to pick the Ankylosaurus. There's just something about that really lines up for me. You're right, dude. Like it's durable, it's beefy, it's got a Warhammer for a tail. It's lesser known.
Actually call that. They gave it the nickname a living tank is what they call it because it was so well armored, all the way down to even its eyelids had armor on it. So
yeah, it's got its endurance stat maxed out, dude. Ankylosaurus is pretty sweet. I'll throw in an honorable mention there. I don't know what it's called, but it's the one in Jurassic Park that spits acid at Newman from
badass.
Yeah, that one actually has a lot of. That one's been through a lot of weird, I don't know. It's been strangely been put through a lot in the media because it didn't really look anything or behave anything like the way it's portrayed in Jurassic Park. But it was still a really cool animal. But it didn't spit poison. It didn't have a frill, right? And it actually was much larger than it is in the movies. It's actually
you're gonna ruin the magic.
Yeah. Oh, it's like an 8 to 10 foot tall animal. But
holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, Gideon, what do you got for me, man?
A little basic, but I'm gonna go with Triceratops because they're just kind of it's like a scary rhino lizard thing with a beak. I don't know, and I think about this a lot, but if I could anamorph into a different animal, it'd be really cool turning into a Triceratops, just running around, destroying shit.
Yeah, you're basically playing Hulk Ultimate Destruction IRL, just blow up everything.
And it's like a rhino, but they got 2 horns and they got the beak, and they look really cool. I like their skulls and everything.
Dude, one of the best dinosaur effects in Jurassic Park is the injured or the sickly Triceratops.
Yeah.
There's something about that one in particular where it's kind of a quiet moment. It's not, chasing people down, and it's not just bloodlusted like the T-Rex is. Yeah. Where Laura Dern's kind of helping take care of it and whatever. That special effect is really good.
It's crazy. Funny that you say that. There's a promotional still of that Triceratops where Steven Spielberg is crouching down next to it. And there was a time, I think in the early 2010s, somebody went around to some kind of prank campaign and was showing the picture to random people on the street, and they're like, "What do you think about this man next to this animal or whatever?" And they're like, "Oh, I think it's just really terrible that somebody would hunt down such a beautiful creature." Or whatever. And they had no idea that it was a fake promotional still from Jurassic Park. They thought it was a real animal. They're like, "Who would do that?" And it's just you can be negative and be like, "Oh, what a state humanity is in," but it is kind of fun. It's kind of a testament to how well that thing is designed, that it looks so real to people.
Absolutely.
No, I was actually in the voice call while I was watching the movie during that scene, and I said it looks like an actual tranquilized animal.
The breathing and everything.
Obviously they had limitations on what they could do, so they chose to have. I think this is actually a scene in the books as well.
Yeah, it is.
They knew exactly how to portray this. Okay, what can we actually pull off, and what is going to look a little weird because of the CGI that we have at this time.
Right. It's cool too. They had kind of a method for that. In the book, it's a different animal. It's a Stegosaurus. But the cool thing with how they blended CGI, and because a lot of people today they say oh, how come you watch Jurassic Park and the special effects look 10 times better than anything today? And part of the reason is how they implemented both practical effects and CGI. A lot of the times the method that they would do is they for a lot of the initial shots of like a dinosaur or whatever, they would use something real. Because that would, for the viewer, it would kind of set up like a like, what's the word, it would predicate exactly what they're looking at. And so then when you used a like a CGI shot for something that you couldn't accomplish with practical effects, it would look more believable as kind of like an extension of what they had already seen in the practical effect. And that it just makes it look that much more fluid and realistic because they already have a framework for what the thing is in real life, as opposed to just showing like a cartoon-looking CGI effect the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think we were saying before you joined the call that special effects can really be sorted into two different eras, right? It's like the pre-Jurassic Park era and the post-Jurassic Park era in terms of that was the moment when everybody went, okay, yeah, CG is clearly the way things are going to go in the future. Not to say that it's always better,
right?
Because certainly it isn't, right? Like we all know what happens when you make your movie entirely on a green screen and actors can't act, but certainly the blending of old school practical effects plus what you can do with CG is incredibly powerful. And for a movie that is 30 years old, a lot of that CG still just looks so good. So let's talk more about the movie itself. I think it's like Neill said last week. Like Jurassic Park is just like a nearly perfect popcorn movie, summer blockbuster. It's like Jaws just cranked up to 11. It's so good that even the child actors are pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's got great casting. It's not Richard Attenborough is the actor.
Yeah, it's
or is
Richard
it?
Attenborough.
It is.
David Attenborough is his brother, who's a naturalist.
Is the
Dude,
the
I was
narrator.
wondering if they were related. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Attenborough's good. I think Laura Dern's good. Everybody's good.
God. Laura Dern's so good.
But the show is completely stolen by Jeff Goldblum, who's everybody's favorite character in this movie. He's got the best lines. That's one big pile of shit comes to mind. He also like the flirting with Laura Dern in the Jeep is really good. Here's a question for you guys.
I need to jump in about the flirting on the Jeep part.
Uh-huh.
He did something I've never seen anyone do, and he like pinched her hair. That was like a new level of creep I hadn't seen. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?"
I mean, to quote him, he's
a chaos man, right?
Well, okay, no, what's his last name in the movie?
In the movie,
Malcolm.
it's Malcolm. Yeah, Ian Malcolm is his name.
Ian Malcolm. Okay,
Ian Malcolm, that's right.
Yeah. So in the movie, I think one of his lines is, "He's always on the lookout for a future ex Mrs. Malcolm."
Yeah. I was like, "Oh my god, bro."
Another person that needs huge credit in this movie, not a cast member, but this would be my vote for my favorite John Williams score.
Yeah,
really
easily. Nice. I know Star Wars is so iconic, but like, is there a more powerful moment than "Welcome to Jurassic Park"? And then that music kicks in, and you're just like, "Oh my god, this movie is amazing!"
I love that because that theme is like that's exactly what that theme embodies. Is like
the wonder
what you're seeing.
Like,
yeah. And they do the classic Spielberg thing where they have all the characters react to the thing, but the thing is off screen. So you're just it's the build of that moment where you go, "Oh my god, just let me look at it." And they're building it up with the music, and then they flip it over, and it shows those brontosauruses or whatever the fuck they are, and then it's just like, oh my god, yeah, one of the best.
It's some good shit. Yeah, once this movie kicks off, it does not let up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, there's a T-Rex. Oh, we got raptors. Oh, this car is gonna squish it. Like, it does not stop. It's awesome.
I love it. I remember like being a kid, and I don't want to say like I was like skeptical about the movie or anything like that, but I remember talking to my mom and being like, "Isn't it so funny that the T-Rex only attacks when it's like raining in the middle of the night? Like, there's like, isn't that funny how in every movie like nothing bad ever happens during the day, and it's always has to be like thundering and like all crazy weather outside and
the worst events, at least with the original trilogy, that's how it was. The worst event always happened when it was like storming. You knew like a big predator was gonna come.
Which is like partially because it's way moodier and more atmospheric, but also you can hide CG behind darkness.
That is true.
So that's why the T-Rex looks immaculate in this movie, and the Brontosauruses at the beginning are the only thing that looks kind of like, okay, I can see that this is 30-year-old CGI because they're out in the middle of the daylight.
Yeah.
But the T-Rex is obscured, of course, by the darkness and the rain, so it kind of helps to obscure a lot of that stuff.
Going back to casting, one thing I never really like associate him with this movie, but this is like 1993 was like the year of the breakout for Samuel L. Jackson. Because I mean he's in there, and what he does is solid for what he's in there for. But like
he's awesome.
Yeah, but 93 was where he actually like started getting major roles.
When was Pulp Fiction? When did that come out?
95.
Okay,
yeah. So it was like 93. He was in Jurassic Park, Menace to Society, and True Romance. And True Romance, I assume, got him on Tarantino's radar to put him in for Pulp Fiction.
Wow.
Because everything prior to that is like TV appearances and like nothings.
And one of the most effective product placements of all time is in this movie, because I've never bought another shaving cream that isn't Barbasol. Because I look at that can and I go like, that's the Jurassic Park can. I gotta get that one.
Yeah, even at like 5 years old, I was like, I don't shave right now, but when I do, I'm getting that. Like, yeah. And man, that's like the most oddly satisfying scene in the whole movie when he's getting all the vials. It's like
the hiss that
makes me everything.
I mean, it's so good because Neidry and Dodson, during the scene where he's explaining what it does, like you can see the excitement on Dodson's face. Like he's the one presenting it, and he's like excited like by the James Bond-esque.
Yeah.
That guy really sells that scene, and he's only on screen for maybe a minute or two. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That scene with Newman and Dodson is pretty good. I don't know the character's name in the movie. I just know that he's Newman on Seinfeld. So even when he shows up in Space Jam,
Dennis Nedry,
what the actor is Wayne Knight,
yes,
right? Even when he shows up in Space Jam, I'm just like, hey, what's Newman doing in Space Jam?
Yeah,
we're gonna have to do a Space Jam episode. I like Space Jam a lot. But anyway, go ahead.
Funny how he got that part. I think what was the movie he was in? What's it called? Deep Impact or something? Was before that?
That sounds right.
I think that was what it was called. He was in that movie. There's a scene where he's like, they're interrogating. I've never seen the movie. I've seen the scene, but like they're interrogating this woman, and she's acting all flirty with him. And at one point, she opens up like her skirt, how she's sitting. And all the guys in the room, including Wayne Knight, are like just looking at this girl, just like enamored and like kind of like they're sweating. And Spielberg saw that scene. He's like, I wonder like if he would react that way, seeing a dinosaur. Like, like how would he just like freak out like that and freeze up?
You're thinking of Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. That's right. Yeah, it's not Deep Impact, but yeah, like But yeah, it was that scene. Spielberg saw that, and he's like, I wonder if he would react like that to a dinosaur. And that's kind of how he does act when he sees the Dilophosaurus. He just kind of freezes up, like, oh, what's up?
You want the stick? You want the stick? Stick, stupid. And he tries to give him the Snickers bar.
Oh my God.
It's so great. What is like something that stands out to me about Newman out in the wilderness there? I remember like the water looking very drinkable in that scene. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? When he's like washing his face off with the river. I remember thinking like, oh man, that's some.
You're like, damn, I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
While we're talking about casting, I want to say like, man, it feels like everybody on screen whenever they're talking, I'm like, yeah, don't turn away. Like it's almost a hard movie not to watch. Like everyone's enjoyable. The kids are great. Like Laura Dern, when they're ripping it out of that out of there in the Jeep, and they see the T-Rex, and she's like, "Shit."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh
no,
my god!" I was like, "That's so
That's
realistic."
exactly how
Yeah, it's
people
like,
would react to seeing a 7-ton.
yeah, they'd be so scared. Yeah.
No, it's funny.
And then she's like, "Oh, thank you, Samuel L. Jackson," and then it's just his arm, and she's freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then the raptor coming through the cables and
Yeah,
shit.
no, it's cool that you mentioned like the conversations because when I was a kid, of course, like you're totally enamored by the dinosaurs and you want to watch those scenes over and over again.
Right.
But as an adult, I'm looking through and like I'm enamored by like every scene where they're just like talking to each other. Like every conversation, I'm hanging on to every word. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
so engaging.
I feel that about a lot of Spielberg's dialogue in general. I feel like it's so well written in that way. While we're real quick aside, sorry about the one thing that Laura Dern says very early that I thought was a strange thing to say. I think it was after Alan Grant like traumatized that child about being like ripped to shreds by a velociraptor, which was awesome. I was living for that. I was like, man, I want to be him when I grow up. Like that'd be awesome. But she says a breed of child could be intriguing. Nobody fucking talks like that. No, I don't give a shit if you're a scientist or whatever. Like, no way, man. A breed of child could be intriguing.
Well, this is a
That sounds like
breed of
something
a
Dexter
Dr.
from
Grant
Dexter's
breed
Lab
of
would
child
say.
would be interesting. Like a
Yeah,
child Dr. Grant. What would that be like? I guess I think that's what
okay.
she meant.
Yeah, I that makes sense because I think he or she like they touch each other's ass or something.
No,
So
yeah,
that would make sense.
Sam Neill is an ass man because he grabs Laura Dern's ass in that scene,
Nice.
and then a little inappropriate, like more than a little inappropriately, when Lex falls to the ceiling. And
No, not the child.
Yeah, no, he just. I mean, like it's like a moment of panic, but he just grabs her ass and pulls her back.
Whoa! Wait, when is this happening?
Oh,
Is
it's
it when they're?
when the
It's like
Velociraptor
like
comes
it's
through
third
the
act.
panels and tries to attack Lex, and she almost falls, but Grant grabs her.
Oh yeah. Okay, that I give that a pass because very close to being chomped,
Yeah,
and
there's a
he's just like he's
velociraptor in the
grabbing.
situation.
I'd say he's more grabbing the jeans than anything to just try and throw her
Sure.
that way. But yeah,
Like
that's
I'm not accusing him of making it sexual, but he's just
definitely something to notice.
He's going for it.
No, it's interesting. You guys probably didn't notice, but in that scene, actually, when Lex looks up, there's a moment when she's grabbing onto the edge of the panels of the grate, and she like looks straight up at the camera. In the original scene, so that scene is done by her stunt double, and in the original unedited scene, she looks up and you can clearly see that it's not Lex. But that was I think that was like one of the first instances where they actually were able to like scan someone else's face and like put it on her to make it look like it's really Lex Murphy or Adriana Richards looking up and at the camera, and it's really convincing. You can't tell unless you know ahead of time that it's even then it's really good.
Wow.
Well, yeah, if I was on that
Yeah,
special
I had no
effects team
idea.
from Industrial Light and Magic, somebody would have come to me and said, "Hey, we need to graft this face onto another actor." I'd be like, "Dude, I just made a fucking 65 million year old dinosaur come to life. A face is a walk in the park at this point. Like, let's do it. Get her in here."
I'll have it done before lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the SEAL Team 6 of special effects that is on this movie.
That's so funny.
Dude, you know who is also really good in this movie and we have not shouted out yet is the Raptor Wrangler, the Crocodile Dundee character.
Yeah, he's great.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Oh, he's so good.
So, just a comparison, to the book.
So, by the way, I'm curious, how many of you guys have read the book?
I haven't yet, but I definitely am going
it's
to.
quite good.
I'm from Muscatine. I was never taught to read, so know me.
It's funny.
But so in the book, so there's a few more like side characters, and then like I think the movie was smart to say like, oh, all the like non-essential staff is leaving on the boat tonight, because we want to do this automated. But in the book, there's like they're constantly mentioning like a few more Costa Rican day laborers showed up battered but alive kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But one of the other minor characters is like the guy who's going to be like the park manager, like the main tour guide.
Oh
kind of thing.
yeah. Ed Regis was the character's name, and he kind of is blended into. He's kind of blended into the lawyer character in the movie.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like the lawyer gets a bad rap because in the book, he and so the lawyer's name is Gennaro.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
In the book at least. And he and in the book, Muldoon's armory is not just shotguns and M16s. They're using like a freaking rocket launcher, and I'm pretty sure that there's like a scene where Muldoon is they're on like a 4-wheeler, and Muldoon is firing the rocket launcher to kill raptors, and Gennaro is loading.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, there's that. There's one where they're facing down the T-Rex. Yeah, no, Gennaro in the book too. He's There's also a side plot in the book where there's like a freighter and it's leaving the island, and they find out that it has velociraptors on it, but the guys on the boat don't know. And it's gonna dock on the mainland, and the power's out on the island, so they're trying to get the power on so they can contact the boat and be like, "Hey, turn around." And at one point near the end, they contact the boat, and it's about to dock at port, and I think like Grant is on the phone with the captain. He's like, "Hey, you have to turn that boat around," and the guy's not believing him, and so Gennaro picks up the phone and he's like, "Listen, if you don't turn that boat around, you're going to be in violation of Act this and blah 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 that," and he like scares the guy into like turning the boat around and going back to the island. And Grant goes, "What were those rights or violations or whatever?" He's like, "I don't fucking know." But so he's actually kind of like a hero in the book, which is
that's awesome.
Directly not the case in the movie. He's the exact opposite. But that's because he was blended together with Ed Regis, who was a coward in the book and abandons the kids. But yeah.
Wow. Damn. Did we? Or yeah, you go ahead.
I was going to say it's worth mentioning to Jacob, because this was mentioned before he joined the show, but Sam has not seen the second Jurassic Park movie. He's seen the first one and he's seen the third one.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So I think what's interesting, like I don't know, Sam, if you're ever going to watch it, but one of the things that's kind of just off about the second movie is I feel like, you guys can disagree with me if you want. There is a whole character in that movie that I think is meant to just like kind of emulate Robert Muldoon.
Pete Postlewaite's character.
Roland.
Yeah.
I like the whole point of that character was, I think, to like just emulate exactly like Robert Muldoon.
Kind of. He's sort of like him, because like Muldoon was a big game hunter, and so was Roland. Yeah, but I think he's a good character though in that movie as well. I think Pete Postlewaite is good in that too.
There's a weird like mirroring where the first movie reduces the number of people that's on the island for the movie. It's like there's way more people in the book on the island in the book, and then in the movie there's 10 or 12. And then in the second one, in the book, there's only like 8 people on the island, but in the movie they bring in 30 nameless hunters, which Paul hates. But I think that was a smart choice because, again, we get the tall grass. So.
Yeah, you gotta love the tall grass scene.
Sam, you don't even know what the tall grass scene is.
Oh, I thought I was thinking about the first movie. Clever girl.
Oh yeah, no, that's great too.
I understand,
but
I knew what you meant.
So I'm not like religious about not seeing The Lost World. It was just one of those things where Jurassic Park was a VHS we had when we were all little, and then we had the VHS of Jurassic Park 3. But like when you're 5, you're not like, "Mom, can we get the VHS for Lost World, because I would like to have a complete understanding of the story, please." That would really it was just like these are the 2 movies we got, right? So and then like when I was older, it was like all I ever heard about The Lost World is that it's not as good as Jurassic Park. And I mean like what can be,
I mean,
right?
it's serviceable. Plus if you like Goldblum, he's the star of the show in that movie.
Oh god, I love Goldblum.
If you love Goldblum, you got to see The Lost World. He's like the main.
Do you know what the first movie Jeff Goldblum ever appeared in was?
No, he was like an extra or something. But
yeah, he shows up for like literally 3 seconds in the Woody Allen movie.
He's just like a vagrant or something, or like some gangster.
Yeah, he's like on the phone in the background of a party scene, and he's on the phone. It's supposed to be like you're assuming that he's on the phone with his agent or something, and he's like, "Yeah, I forgot my mantra," and then it just cuts away.
Nice.
And then he was in The Fly, and it was all uphill from there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got to add that to the list because I've never seen The Fly, but it's like one of those. We were just talking about the division of pre Jurassic Park special effects and post, and definitely one of the great special effects movies of the pre CG era is the David Cronenberg Fly. So definitely we gotta get around to that one.
Sam, I think you should watch The Lost World. I think of the 3 Jurassic Park movies, it's definitely just like the goofiest. It's not as good. It's not even really like, as far as like writing or like logic goes, a very good movie, but it's definitely like it's the goofiest. It's a Vince Vaughn movie, as I said before.
Vince Vaughn is the villain.
Oh yeah, I agree. No,
he's not like the movie itself doesn't say that he is, but he straight up gets like 40 people killed,
like inadvertently, because he's like this. He's basically like an eco-terrorist in that film. Like the stuff that he does, and it frames it. It's almost like really. It's almost sinister because the movie frames him like he's one of the good guys, but he really is responsible. He's responsible for the T-Rex getting shipped to the mainland. He's responsible for it destroying their trailers and destroying the hunter camp. All of that is like his idea.
Gets 40 hunters killed.
And he,
Yeah, Sam, like you would like it just because it's so ridiculous.
I
just feel like it would be up your alley.
No, we're good, man. So what else do we want to talk about regarding like the themes and the plot? I mean, we've talked about the special effects, we've talked about like the individual characters, but I don't want to skip over talking about the actual movie before we hop out of here.
I think one of the personally one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie for Jurassic Park 1, like the most suspenseful scene, is when Lex and Tim are running from the raptors and they're hiding in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is like that is one of the most like suspenseful, like heart rate pumping, like totally silent, scary scenes of all time.
It's like the Terminator's coming for him or something, right? It's kind of like a slasher movie scene, but with velociraptors.
Like peak Spielberg too. Like you have to have them. You have where kids are in terror, and that's like that's perfect.
Man, I did want to mention. I don't know if we wanted to circle back and talk about everyone's like first experience with the movie. But it's funny, Sam said he hadn't seen the second one because I have like a very similar experience. Like had the first one, had the third one, and watched those a ton on VHS. But yeah, I have never seen the second one all the way through. I've just seen bits and pieces. And then it just like passed me by. And but I watched the hell out of the first and third one, and I don't think I've seen the original Jurassic Park until last night. Since I was a kid on VHS, so it was awesome revisiting, and even just like what you were talking about, it's insane how much of it is like a horror movie when it really gets going, and like that whole scene with the kids like just like trying to get away from the raptors is so terrifying.
But I think what really hallmarks it as a Spielberg movie to me is the juxtaposition of, yes, this is a horror movie and we're going to do some like crazy shit with this T-Rex eating people, and you're going to get enough of that. But they also, with the same creatures, not the T-Rex, but with the other dinosaurs in the movie, they instill into you that sense of wonder that Spielberg is so good at doing. Like he shows you kind of like when you first arrive at the island, like you buy into Hammond's vision. You're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. You like that's what the lawyer says. He's like, we're going to make a fortune on this place. You can kind of see it. You're like, this is awesome. I would love to go here. I want to see these creatures. I want to feed a brontosaurus a leaf from a cart or whatever. And then they slowly start to turn it on you, right? Like the first thing you really see is the cow being dropped into the raptor pit, and they pull it up, and it's in the thing's all fucked up.
That's like even before that is the foreshadowing with the kid when Grant scares the crap out of the kid. Is that scene?
Yeah,
and of course the very first opening scene where the accident where the raptor kills the worker in the very very beginning.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The
Mhm.
opening is insane with that whole scene with the raptor.
No, like the pretty much you don't see a raptor fully until like the third act.
Mm.
I feel like that's like a throwback to Spielberg and Jaws, where
Yeah.
Yeah.
like in the cow scene that Sam mentioned, like I get the impression that although we as the viewer don't see the raptors destroying the cow, the actors, like the characters in the movie,
Right.
like
Mhm.
like it's not, they're not just seeing a bunch of plants rustle back and forth. They're seeing the graphic detail, which is better as the viewer to leave it to our imagination rather than
And the
fun
sound
effect
design
that show
does
off.
so much heavy lifting. Like you really are hearing that thing get tore up like insane. And
You can hear the bones break.
screeching. Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing we mentioned last week, but I wanted to highlight here before we hop out of here. I don't know how much longer you guys want to go.
I got two small things I want to say
Uh,
before we go.
I think the ending of this movie is perfect when they're cornered and then Daddy T or Mommy T-Rex shows up to just
Show 'em
they
what's
throw in
what.
they got a stealth T-Rex, right? It just sneaks up out of nowhere. Nobody sees it coming, and then chomp chomp. And then when it roars and the banner comes down, it's just like make it into a poster. That
Movie
is the
magic.
greatest thing I've ever seen in a movie like this.
That's too, and it kind of wraps around to what I always really liked about the message of the movie too. Is like the underlying tones of what it's trying to say is the inherent, which goes all the way to the original novel. What Michael Crichton was trying to say was like the dangers and the concerns present with how people conduct themselves with science and when we do things for the sake of progress, is it really do we really know what we're doing? Is it really for the betterment of society? Like, is it really the best idea? And I don't think there's really too many other pieces of media I can think of that are cautionary like that about about messaging, which I really appreciate about that film.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
So one other thing that I wanted to just throw in, because this was my first time like making the connection, but I talked about how there's this like pretty much everything that's in this movie is set up previously. Like there's a setup and a payoff for just about everything. And the thing that I put together on this viewing was Sam Neill's character, Alan Grant. I just thought, like in the opening scenes where he's like touching the computer and like the screen goes fuzzy, or when the ride stops and he's like, "What did I touch? What did I touch?" I just thought that was like a weird character quirk, and I didn't quite get why it mattered. But I finally realized in the scene where Lex is playing a flight simulator that's supposed to be a
Unix system,
storage system, yeah, and she manages to get the door locked, and so Grant's able to pick up the gun, and they're like, "Oh, the raptor's coming through the window," and then he fires it, and then ditches the gun. And I never quite got it until I finally realized that there's a shotgun shell, and the gun's jammed. So his like techno curse or whatever you want to call it. That's why.
Which is funny because that's not like, if you know anything about guns, like that's not a difficult problem to clear that. Like it wouldn't be hard to fix. But I guess that's a good point because he's so technologically not not prepared for that kind of thing.
Right.
He goes, oh
Even
no,
a
it's
gun.
broken, and leaves it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I finally put that together.
Well, and is there something about that connects into the larger themes of like we don't understand this technology and we're not ready for it as man, and we're messing with things that we might not want to be messing with?
That's a good point.
The other thing that this isn't original, an original observation, but is something that I think is kind of along those lines, is very early in the movie on the helicopter ride. I think it's like Sam Neill who like can't get his seatbelt done, and he ends up tying to two female ends with
female
the teeth.
connectors.
Yeah, which is exactly what happens with the dinosaurs, where the female
Life
dinosaurs
finds a way,
evolve so that they can life finds a
because
way.
of the frog DNA, they can switch sex, right?
Right, yeah.
The two small things I want to say, they're both kind of silly things I noticed. I really like the like animated, like hand-drawn animated like intro when they first get to the park. But every time the narrator says dinosaur, he says dinosaur.
Yeah,
I was like, what is happening? And it was just so funny hearing him say it. And then even at the end, like Alan Grant, he's like, they're in the helicopter, they made it safe, the music's all melancholy, kind of like sad theme. And he's looking at the bird, and I'm almost like thinking his thoughts, like, he's like, you see, that there is good nature. We don't mess with it. And, you know, it's kind of sad we can't have the cool dinosaur park, because those Jeeps were really cool, and remember the merchandise? That looked really cool. But it's like, bro, the fucking first, when they go on the tour, and there's like hardly anybody there, and it's automated, the like first thing, they're like, and to your right is the acid-spitting tiny raptor that will kill your whole family if it gets loose. But don't worry, we got a couple barbed wire things.
Oh,
it's
and
gonna
keep
be
the
fine.
windows up too.
Like, yeah, keep the and also we don't actually have a driver. Like, oh my god. So yeah, those are the small things I just thought were kind of funny.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a driver in Jurassic Park, it better be The Rock with a shotgun, like ready just in case some business.
An all metal man, like
it better be Marcus Phoenix on the front
like
of that
HK-47 or something.
Yeah. Just ready in case some serious shit pops off.
Man.
Get RoboCop to drive that car.
Stay out of trouble.
Oh man. Well, guys, do we want to talk about what we want to watch for next week?
Yeah, does anybody want to nominate?
I mean,
or how do I do it?
I've got a suggestion, but you know, like, feel free to feel. Yeah, maybe I just watched The Lost World, and then we all talk about that. Well, you know, I could be down for that because I don't want to dictate things, but another movie with Laura Dern in it that I just recently watched that I would love to talk about with people is Blue Velvet. It is so good. It's short. It's like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. And you watch this and you will have some shit to talk about. This is a serious, you know, what the hell is going on kind of movie. I just recently saw it for the first time and really, really enjoyed it. But I'd be curious to talk about it with some people. And Jake, of course, I know there's no dinosaurs in Blue Velvet, but you're more than welcome to come back and
I am a fan of Laura Dern,
watch it,
largely because of Jurassic Park. But
yeah,
exactly. Like her as an actress is very good.
She's great. Like, I know Neill, you said you saw it when you were a teenager, but has anybody else seen Blue Velvet?
I have not.
I haven't seen it.
What's the one where she like has a thing with Nick Cage? Which movie is that? I think
that's Wild at Heart, but same director, right? So it's David Lynch, but Blue Velvet is Laura Dern and Kyle MacLachlan, and yeah, I don't really want to say Dennis Hopper's in it. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to like spoil anything. Or
on HBO Max if you need it.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
and it's
an HBO Max subscription.
And it's a Criterion movie as well, so we can knock out one of those. And then now that we've kind of done Jurassic Park and then maybe Blue Velvet, maybe we just decide we want to do like kind of a blockbuster movie that everybody loves, and then we do like a Criterion movie, and then we kind of alternate so that we don't get burnt out on like art films or whatever. But I think that would be a good one. So if you guys want to do that, watch it and show up next week, and we might have Alex Princeton in here as well because he wants to be on the podcast, but his dad's currently visiting, so he wasn't able to come tonight. But we'll see who we can get, and we'll come back next week and we'll talk about it.
I'm down to watch Blue Velvet, but Sam, whenever you have the time, you should watch The Lost World and just tell us what you thought.
Okay, I will definitely. I'll tell you what, because I've already seen Blue Velvet. I'm not going to watch it again. I'll watch Lost World, and I will report to you guys next week.
About the World trilogy? Cool. I'm curious.
Oh, I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any of them.
I've only seen the first of the new ones, and
that's probably
it was
okay.
But yeah, probably the
Yeah.
best, right? I heard the last one was mostly about bugs, so I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, and they're not
They're
the
like,
mosquitoes either. Yeah.
what? Yeah. Oh my god. It's
So
like I want to see dinosaurs.
I haven't seen the most recent one, but I watched the second one, where it's revealed that I'm pretty sure that they said that Jurassic World is built on the bones of
Right.
Jurassic Park because the kids in that movie are able to find like a old garage or something. And then so for Jurassic World 2, it's then revealed that John Hammond decided to build his multi-billion-dollar theme park
Yeah.
on an island with a fucking active volcano.
Oh well, that goes all the way back to the
What?
book. Actually, because that's actually the case. It was
Oh.
it was there because it was basically when
Geothermal
the thing
power.
is when
Geothermal?
Hammond says, "Oh, spared no expense," blah blah blah. That's not always necessarily the case. He built Jurassic Park on Island Nublar because it was volcanic because it provided cheap geothermal energy, and that's why it was built the way it was. Although it is kind of strange that you would think that they would maybe mention it in the first Jurassic World if it were the case that like I'm pretty sure I don't know too much about volcanology, but I would imagine you would have a sense as to if the volcano is going to erupt soon within about probably more than 3 years before it actually happens. So I'm surprised like it just happens to occur in between. The first Jurassic World and the second Jurassic World. They're like, oh no, the volcano's going to explode. Like I would think they would know that beforehand.
You'd hope.
All right, guys. So I'll do some dino research. You guys will do some well, I don't want to say what, but just I would caution you guys, maybe not a great date movie, but depending on who you're dating. But so just like do a little bit of research before you watch it with anybody that is that you want to keep having a good relationship with, and then we'll report back next week, and I'll see what you guys think of David Lynch's Blue Velvet.
Sounds
Nice.
good. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. Next week we'll be talking about David Lynch's Blue Velvet. Be sure to tune in for that. Thanks.